All right, so we went out to the theater today and we saw the new Brian Fuller, Mads Mikkelsen collaboration.
Yep.
First well, maybe not the first since, but I think this might be the first since Hannibal. But regardless, I'd have to think about what other Brian Fuller projects have been done recently. I know he left the Crystal Lake show, and I wonder if this is what is the result of that, or if he was working on this prior to that. I don't know, but maybe we got this because he got fired from Crystal Lake. But whatever, here we are. Dust Bunny. This got a limited theatrical run because I looked earlier and there was only a few places that were playing this. That makes sense to me, but that's a damn shame. All right, let's talk about this one. So we have a girl, Aurora. Make sure you say her name correctly.
Aurora.
Aurora. Good old Sleeping Beauty herself.
Yep.
And she believes she has a monster under her bed. And her neighbor, played by Mads Mikkelsen, she believes him to be a monster slayer. So she gets together some money.
Yep.
To hire him to slay the monster under her bed. Okay, so yeah, this is a PG-13 film that is definitely like aimed somewhat at families, for sure. I mean, this is supposed to be kind of like a family movie. But okay, few things to note here. Number one, do I think that this is appropriate for kids? Yes, but not small kids. I wouldn't take anyone under 9 or 10. Yeah. It's definitely, I don't know how close to R it gets, but it borders a bit. There's a couple scenes in particular that I was like, oh wow, this is not something you would ever see done in a PG-13 family film.
Right.
There's something that happens in this where I was just like, okay, that's way darker than I was expecting in a movie like this.
Yeah, I don't really think this would ever be called a family film, but it does have kind of a sweetness to it that I think
it's whimsical.
Older children would maybe enjoy.
Yeah.
And the whimsical nature, for sure. But it is something that, yeah, I mean, you would just need to use discretion, of course.
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, I would say this kind of feels like an adult version of like a Roald Dahl story, something like that.
Yeah.
Another thing to note here is I think we all have our own, like, obviously we all have our own tastes, but we all have kind of like our soft spot of things that really cater to us. And if you guys have followed the channel for a while, you know that kind of like I am a sucker big time for like the reluctant daddy-daughters stories, like adopted daddy-daughter relationships through tragedy, a la The Professional or The Last of Us or whatever. So definitely take note of that for what I'm about to say on my opinion of this, because this is just my kind of shit. And I am 100% convinced that Brian Fuller was heavily inspired by Leon the Professional.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities here. But yeah, I mean, I was in love with this. This is so my kind of film. I think that I really don't have any negatives about the film at all. I think visually it's stunning. And it's really exciting to get a movie like this. It's a completely original story, right? No IP that I'm aware of. It has one of my favorite actors. It has an incredible performance from a child. The budget on it is not like tentpole level, but it's like in that middle ground, and that's the kind of film that doesn't really get made anymore. And all of the effects in this look phenomenal.
Yeah.
So like I just was madly in love with this film the whole time.
Yeah, I thought this film was really wonderful as well. I think that it truly does feel very magical and whimsical, as we had said. Like, there's so much whimsy, and it's really beautifully shot. Like, it has so much style to it.
So much.
And I've really appreciated that. There's, like, really great costuming with everybody that I love. Yeah, the set design, the lighting, the way people talk. Kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, maybe, like, Wes Anderson-y. Like, it sort of is this, like, reality-adjacent kind of dialogue that people are having that I really liked. And also just, like, props, too. There's some really cool props. Like, there's a lamp in this that was really funny.
And a hippo.
And a hippo thing. Really fun. It's a very magical, like, movie. And it has some really good messaging. And also, like, I would say a bit of a... maybe, like, some unexpected stuff that happens that you're, like... You might not anticipate things to go the way that they go, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say if I had to give a little blurb line or something to put on a poster, I would say something like, if Roald Dahl wrote The Professional, directed by Tim Burton. That's kind of how this feels.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with the camera work. There's so many great, cool shots. When we walked into this, there's this really great opening shot following, like, dust as it collects.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of something like the opening shot from Fight Club, when it's, like, panning through and it's going into, like, through all these different things and weaving this way and that way. That looks very... That looks very dated now. But, like, I really genuinely am starting to think, and not starting to think, sorry. I definitely believe that modern audiences are spoiled and take a lot of what they watch now for granted. Because the opening shot of this movie is incredible. Yeah. It looks incredible. It is incredible. And we see stuff like it so often now that sometimes I really do have to just kind of like step back from all the incredible things that we see now and go like, well, this really is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, if I would have saw a shot like this in the 90s when I was growing up, my mind would have been blown, right? Because we just never saw anything like that ever. Yeah. But nowadays we see so many impossible shots with so much incredible effects work. You know, growing up on, Neverending Story and stuff like that with, like, puppets and, you always had to kind of use your imagination or suspend tons of disbelief for things. Because you're like, yeah, okay, that doesn't look that great. Or like, yeah, that effect is pretty terrible. But it looks, I still liked it at the time. But stuff like this little dust bunny shot in the opening was so fucking cool. And the whole film is like that for me. Where there's just so many wonderful shots and so much artistry on display. And the story, I was so sucked in. I loved the little girl. Aurora was just such an incredibly talented actress with such a presence to her.
Yeah, it's a very visually stunning film, and I do think that her performance is wonderful.
This needs to be seen on the big screen.
Yeah, this is definitely one to go to a theater to see.
So if you can catch this in theaters, I implore you to do so. I'm happy to report that while it was only at one theater in like a 50-mile radius of us, the theater was not packed, but it was
more people than
filled
I thought.
Out.
Yeah, we thought there was going to be nobody there.
And I was like, hell yeah.
There was a good handful of people.
It seemed like everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
As they should. Yeah. As they should. So if you are open, and okay, I guess we should talk about this as well, because this is a horror channel. Is there enough horror in here to justify calling this a horror, putting it in the horror label? Yes, definitely. This is a monster film. And there is some actually somewhat freaky stuff that happens in certain areas.
Yeah.
And it's dark, man.
It's a dark film.
It's a very dark film. What the guy does for a living and what he ends up doing in her presence and some of the things that are talked about. I'm like, this is a really fucked up film.
Yeah.
And the monster's fucking scary. Right? Like there's a lot of scenes where I'm just like straight up these are scary scenes, especially for like a young kid.
Yeah, I think young children would easily be kind of freaked out by
this would
movie.
fuck them up.
I think it would put ideas in their heads of like
I don't think you could be able to get them to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, cuz it really does like the film really is kind of playing off of your childhood fears of a monster under your bed, and this is probably the best version of that I've seen. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, it was Little Monsters with Fred Savage.
Sure.
Right. That was the movie that was kind of ish like this.
Yeah.
With a monster under your bed personified. But this is a much better film than that. I mean, that's still a fun nostalgic film, but this is far superior.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite films I've watched this year. I really genuinely loved it. I think that this is the kind of film that will get a huge cult following in the future. This will be one of those films that people in 20 years from now or 15 years from now will be like, that's one of my favorite films from my childhood. Like, that movie's incredible. I saw it when I was like 12. It scared the shit out of me, but I still loved it, and I watched it all the time. This is definitely this is that type of film. This will be one of those, like, you overlooked it films,
definitely.
and you shouldn't have, because this is fucking incredible. And I really wish that they would have promoted this more. I mean, I don't know what Mads Mikkelsen's like star meter is at. You know, I think he's kind of somewhere in the middle for star power. But yeah, I mean, I would hope that the advertisement, we saw trailers to this quite a few times in theaters. So they're promoting this.
Saw trailers too.
Right? Like, this isn't a movie that came out of nowhere for us.
Yeah.
This movie, we saw trailers to this a couple months ago. And I was like, that looks incredible. I immediately was sold. And then when I looked on IMDb and it had it listed as horror, I was like, oh, beyond sold. Right? I can review it on the channel. Right? And it's got Mads Mikkelsen. It's a Brian Fuller collaboration. And I think Hannibal is one of the great shows ever on television. And that has incredible style, right? Like, some of the best you'll ever see, and very dark. And this has a lot of that. It's like his attempt at making a family movie, but almost kind of failing at it in a way because it's a little too much. But whatever. This is ruled. This also has Sigourney Weaver and David Dastmalchian in it for any of you who want to catch them. But amazing. But as I said, maybe you'll have a different take on this. Maybe it won't be as high on it as I was, but those lone wolf and cub movies,
they're always wonderful.
It always gets me. Yeah. Always gets me. And this is one of the better ones for me.
Yeah.
So, Dust Bunny.
Dust Bunny.
Awesome movie. Another one from the channel that you probably didn't even hear about, and you got to rush out to the theater to go see it.
Yes.
And if you're not sold, watch a trailer.
Yes.
That's that. All right, we'll see you in the comments. Adios.
Bye.